Hi there, and welcome back to the Energy Sector Heroes podcast. My name is Michelle Fraser, and every week I will speak with incredible people who share their lessons, experiences, and stories from their time spent in the energy sector. Hi there, and welcome back again to this week's episode. If you're new to the show, then please take a second to subscribe and even consider sharing the show with just one other person. This week I am joined by Richard Halsey. Richard is the Director of Energy Systems Catapult. Richard, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. So, as you said, my name is Richard Halsey. I'm Innovation Director at the National Energy Systems Catapult, which has a mission to accelerate new energy innovation and the development of new energy products and services in support of the decarbonisation of our energy system and the creation of economic growth for UK companies as well.
So how did you get started off in the energy sector then?
So I did my kind of early career in an IT startup. So after university, I did my first degree in communications. I then fell into kind of working at a relatively small kind of IT startup kind of company, and then moved to a much bigger engineering firm, Babcock Engineering, on the sort of project management side of things, which is kind of where I was exposed to a range of different aspects of energy and utilities. So that's kind of really where it started for me. And probably around 2005, 2006, I got really interested in the kind of wider kind of climate agenda and what that meant for kind of energy and energy use. Yeah, and it's kind of gone from there, really.
Okay, what made you decide to go into a startup?
It was really just an opportunity. I think I came out of university and I was excited by the idea of working for a smaller company. They were looking for somebody. It was geographically, quite close to where I was living. So there's a little bit of fortuitous kind of alignment, and they seemed quite excited and passionate about growing and kind of doing some interesting stuff. And, the digital world seemed, quite interesting as well at that time. So it was, a little bit of probably both enthusiasm and a little bit of naivety maybe as well about the reality of working in a small company and a startup business as well.
I think so too. After university, do you think that it was the best move to work as a startup? Because that's quite an unusual path to take.
Yeah, I think it's on reflection, it probably has given me a lot of understanding and awareness that I maybe wouldn't have got if I'd have gone straight into a kind of big kind of corporate organization. But it certainly has. It was certainly very challenging. Everybody was having to do everything. You were having to, there was no, oh, well, I'm here to do this bit of the job. It was no, listen, you're all here to muck in, and but it gave me a very good exposure to the reality of running a small business. The challenges, the managing your cash flow, the important of customers and clients, the having to kind of be a bit of a jack of all trades on a number of different things as well. Actually, I found later in my career has been quite helpful actually, and understanding the pressures that small businesses are under as well. Certainly in my current role is something that I think gave me a really early appreciation of what that's like and what's involved in that.
Okay, so was your current role also a startup then?
No, well, so I joined the Energy Systems Catapult. I suppose the Energy Systems Catapult is a kind of part public, part private entity designed to support startup, scale up businesses and innovators. So our remit is to try and help those kind of businesses. And at the Catapult, I joined at a point where we were a startup kind of organization as well. So we were relatively small, only formed in 2015. And I joined sort of later on in 2015. So it was, that's something that I've been able to hopefully leverage some of my skills and experience in helping the business grow and helping work with other small businesses as well.
Okay.
But very different from, obviously, after that, I went to work for Babcock Engineering and White and Green Engineering, who are much bigger corporate, many thousand employee kind of organizations. So a bit of a perspective on both the small and the large as well, I suppose, in my career.
Okay. What made you decide to go into helping other companies?
I think I suppose particularly I think companies are a key part of solving problems. I think that's what they're here to do, and I think in the energy sector we have a lot of challenges and problems, and we have a need for a lot of different solutions, different ways of doing things. So I suppose that I kind of naturally gravitate towards that first of a kind, trying something new. That's what I enjoy, and I get quite a lot of personal kind of fulfillment out of. And so therefore working with kind of great, companies that are trying new things, is something that I really enjoy about what the Catapult does as an organization and what it's trying to do. Again, as I said, it's not without its challenges and pressures. I do, personally really believe that small businesses, new ideas, new entrepreneurs, innovators are a kind of key part of transforming our energy system and creating value for the UK as well.
Okay. What is the most challenging part of doing that?
I think the energy sector, in a broader sense, is obviously heavily regulated and heavily driven by the policy environment that we create. So creating an environment that enables innovative new businesses to develop new products and services that can land in the markets that are kind of defined by policy and regulation and are able to grow and stand a chance of succeeding, is really challenging. If you're an innovator in the current kind of environment, it can be quite difficult to get investment. It can be quite difficult to navigate the regulatory and policy environment. There can be quite a lot of uncertainty about whether your technology is favored or not, or how, customer may or may not look to kind of take up your kind of product kind of in the market. So I think that's, from a innovator kind of in the space, that is a kind of real challenge. I think for us as a Catapult, the challenges is how we best support those companies effectively to give them the best chance of being able to succeed, being able to kind of develop and get their products and services to market, as well as trying to shape the future policy and regulatory environment in a way that it pulls innovation through and it gives companies a good chance of bringing great ideas and allowing them to flourish both in the UK and internationally as well.
Okay, but I would still think that would be really challenging, though, to
Oh
help,
yeah.
especially just now.
Yeah, it's hugely challenging. But we've got lots of success stories of working with businesses that have raised lots of money and investment to kind of grow and develop their products and services. We've got lots of businesses that are selling products and services in market and being able to kind of grow organically. That be both technology companies, software companies. We've got loads of great companies that are trying to think about how you may be able to plan and design and deliver the energy system of the future in a different way, how you might be able to understand risks and threats, how you might be able to build things in a more resilient way, how you can leverage AI and digital technology. So I think there's whilst it is challenging, there's also lots of opportunity, I would say, and there's lots of opportunity to do things in a different way across the energy sector in a broad sense.
Okay. What is the most innovative product that you've seen?
Oh, blimey. I think there's lots of them. Probably I couldn't name just one, but there's everything from people with completely novel and new heat pumps, like a company called Nusku, companies like Equiwatt that are developing new sort of flexibility solutions to enable people to control how they use and when they use energy at home. Companies like Zero that are developing net zero home solutions for the social housing and the private kind of rented sector. Companies like Havenwise that have got a heat pump optimization solution that can make sure how a heat pump performs in the home is as efficient and effective as it possibly can be. Companies like City Science that are helping plan and design low carbon energy systems at a sort of city kind of level and developing plans for local authorities. So there's probably kind of kind of almost too many to mention. I think and they're very different. What I would say is there's lots of exciting businesses at all scales. So we've worked with a company called Airex who've got a kind of novel controllable heat brick to control ventilation in the home, all the way up to companies like Haldane Energy that are looking at big hydrogen production and distribution and use in the power system in the future. So it's kind of across the full spectrum. I think there's lots of really exciting, novel ideas, that the UK companies are trying to develop and trying to bring to market. So too many to mention, I imagine.
I would think so too. And it sounds amazing. So, do you enjoy most about your current role?
I guess I enjoy most about the breadth. So I really love the range of companies that we're able to work with at different scales. The fact also that we're thinking about the markets of the future and how we can influence and shape those to pull innovation through, as well as practically working and helping businesses of all sizes. I have quite a privileged role in being able to look across that spectrum of activity that we do. That means there's a really wide range of exciting, interesting projects and businesses. That's the thing that really kind of gets me up in the morning, and I enjoy about my role, and working with some really great people. People in our clients and partners, as well as great innovators, as well as really great people working in government and other research organisations that really want to change things for good and have got some really passionate ideas that can make a difference as well.
Okay, that sounds amazing. So, if you were going to hire a graduate to come and work with you, what kind of skills would you be looking for?
So, well, it's quite relevant. So I over the last kind of year have launched a kind of graduate pilot scheme. We're obviously a relatively small business, so we don't have like very large kind of corporate organizations, a kind of structured kind of graduate process. But what we've done in the scheme that we've done over the last year is look for people that have got a strong passion or interest in change, in energy and the energy future and climate as well, and the ability and willingness to learn and adapt as well, I think is really important in the kind of world of work now. So they're kind of key things that we really look for in recruiting kind of graduates into our cohort. In many ways, much more so than necessarily than kind of academic kind of preferences. So we try to kind of identify people with relevant experience and skills from their degrees, but equally the willingness to learn, the willingness to kind of work collaboratively and work in quite a kind of agile fashion as well. I think they for me are really key. I think the other thing one of my own reflections recently is the willingness and ability to adopt new ways of working. Obviously, things like artificial intelligence, leveraging new tools and being able to adapt and to use new tools and new ways of working, I think is going to be increasingly important for kind of graduates and people who are kind of coming into the sector as well.
I was going to ask you, how would a graduate's career progression look like if they were to join the Energy Systems Catapult?
So it's probably very different. So I guess as a smaller organization, again, we don't have your conventional kind of elevator, that you start at graduate, you then become junior engineer, you then become engineer, you then become senior engineer. But it might look like somebody joining as a graduate, getting a year or a couple of years worth of experience, then moving into a kind of analyst or researcher role or an engineer role, developing their skills and experience on projects, working with businesses, and then potentially moving into a more senior a kind of role that might be vertically sort of across into different areas of the business rather than kind of conventionally kind of up and down through a particular discipline. Yeah, so that's generally building experience and skills. We've had a number of people in our business that have developed and they've gone on to work for some of our customers and partners in government, worked for some of the SMEs and innovators that we've worked with, gone on to join them and to help their businesses grow, joined network companies. So I guess we see our role as developing people, not just for our own organization, but also to be able to support our wider mission and be able to kind of progress their own careers in the wider sector as well. And I think as a smaller business, that's really important because sometimes you can't necessarily offer the progression or development opportunities very directly that somebody might want. So you have to be able to give them the skills and the ability to be able to then engage with kind of opportunities more widely.
Okay. So it sounds like they would have quite an exciting career then if they were to join.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I mean, I think actually it's a different kind of role. Working in the innovation space, working for a Catapult, we're not a kind of conventional kind of consultancy organization or an academic sort of research institution. We sit in this kind of space in the middle. So I certainly would like to think that anybody working at the Catapult has a varied, interesting, as you alluded earlier, quite challenging in some cases, kind of opportunity and hopefully quite a rewarding career, whatever level you're in, whether that's people kind of starting in the career or that's people who are, we have quite a nice mix of people who've maybe been in the energy sector and are looking to come out of maybe, some of the conventional organizations and bring their experience, or young people that are looking to start their careers as well.
Okay, so there's a lot of different skill sets and experience that you hire there then.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have the benefit of having quite a diverse team. So I have everything from what you might call hard engineers, so power systems, systems engineering, modeling and analytics, through to data science, social science, consumer research, planning, design. So quite a wide range.
Yeah. So is there anything else you want to achieve in your career?
Oh, blimey, that's a big one, isn't it? Oh God. So I think in terms of the question about what would I like to achieve in my career, I think it very much is. I'd really like to see some of the ideas and things that the Catapult has developed in supporting taking hold and being part of our kind of a way of doing things, and that driving change across the energy system, and that we've got some really fantastic innovators that have really been able to scale their businesses and deliver some real positive kind of impact in terms of new energy products and services, and that we as consumers and businesses are all benefiting from those. That they're the two things that I would really like to drive forward over the next few years.
Okay, so that's quite interesting. So is all the companies that you are working with, are they actively their products actively pursuing a contribution to the net zero?
Yes, yeah, yeah. Well, in most cases, they are. We work pretty much solely exclusively with energy innovators, and the vast majority of them are, thinking about decarbonisation as part of their future. And I think it's obviously a big part of why things need to change in the energy system. So whether that's people are looking at alternative fuels, that's people are looking at technologies that can use energy more efficiently. It's looking at new ways of delivering comfort or mobility or utility for people and businesses, and importantly, obviously, as a business, being able to kind of create value from that and being able to kind of scale and deliver those solutions to the mass market is a really important part of that. So I think in most cases, it's kind of a core part to most of the businesses that we work with in terms of what they're trying to do, because it's part of the opportunity in terms of changing something or doing something differently.
I think so too. What advice would you give to young graduates coming into the energy space?
My advice would probably be, well, I think my comment would be it's hopefully a really exciting and interesting time when change is happening. I think generally that's when things are most interesting. I think I would be encouraging people to explore and get a broad and wide understanding of both the problems, the challenges, and not be afraid to kind of ask difficult questions, to challenge conventions, and also to build relationships across disciplines. I think from a catapult perspective, and I suppose equally personally, I think the collision of disciplines is quite often the intersects by which new ideas and innovation comes from. So people working with people from different backgrounds, from working with different perspectives, different takes on things, I think is actually both incredibly rewarding from your own career perspective, but also is where great new ideas can come from as well. So I'd really be encouraging people. We try and get our sort of young early careers people from our engineering side to work with our consumer research side, to work within our design side, to collaborate across those different disciplines. I think I would really encourage people to do that, because I think a lot of the solutions that we need are kind of come from an appreciation of those different areas and those different disciplines as well.
Do you think graduates are still have an important part to play in net zero, driving it forward?
I mean, well, I would say I think young people across and future generations are absolutely critical. I mean, ultimately, the only reason you're doing anything about climate change or transformation of the energy system is for future generations. So I think if young people are not part of that and part of designing the future, building and delivering the future, I don't see how it will work in reality. So I think having people as part of, particularly young people engaged, understanding the problem, building and designing solutions is absolutely critical. I think I don't see how we can do it without that. And I think the more engaged young people are, the more passionate, the more I suppose willing to take risks and explore new ways of doing things, the more likely we are to come up with better solutions and ultimately have a better place for us all to live.
I think so too as well. I was going to ask you maybe one final question. Sure. If you were going to turn back time, would you change anything?
Oh, blimey, that's a big existential question. I think from a kind of personal kind of career perspective, I don't think I necessarily would. I think, your question at the start about working in a startup at an early, kind of early age, and then working in larger kind of corporates. I think I personally got quite a lot from that, and I think the only thing I probably have is a little bit of a frustration at how long it takes to change things. I think over time I've realised that some things take a long time to change, and it's very easy to think that something can be done in a year or a few years, when some big existential changes, require a lot of concerted effort over a long time. So I might say to my younger self, be a bit more patient, be aware that some things might seem easy to change, but in reality they aren't. And but actually I think I've been quite fortunate. I've been fortunate to work for great companies with great people, doing really exciting kind of projects, initiatives. And I think I've kind of taken opportunities as they've arisen. And again, that's something I would probably encourage other, particularly young people, is things won't be a perfect linear line. They'll probably be a bit more spaghetti-like, and you've got to be prepared to take opportunities when they come your way. Because sometimes if you don't take them at that point, they might not kind of come around again, or they'll come around in a different way. So being open to new challenges and taking some risk, I think, is quite important as well.
I was going to ask, because that was a really interesting what you were saying. Do you think it is important to take the first opportunity that comes your way?
My opportunities that are available to you, and try and choose the right opportunity for you, but equally be mindful about thinking there's always a better opportunity around the corner. So I think sometimes getting in and doing something is better than doing nothing, but I think it's getting that balance right.
Yep. So I'm going to end things there.
Okay. Sure.
So that's all the questions I have to do. I would like to thank Richard for your time. That brings us to the end of another episode. Thanks for listening, and see you next week.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks for your time. It's great to meet you.
That brings us to the end of another episode. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, I'd like to gently encourage you to leave a 5-star rating wherever you listen to podcasts, and share the show with another person. You can also follow me on LinkedIn or via my website, www.michellefraserconsultancy.com. Thanks again for listening, and see you next week.